The Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce and Houston PBS present Breakthrough Women.
Effective leaders really lay out the objective, the purpose, provide clarity, and lay out a path to success for their organization, their team, whoever it is that they're leading. They need to be able to see the forest, but they also need to understand the details of the business and the trees that make up that forest.
I feel it's my responsibility as a leader to really look around me and hire the best and the brightest. And then it's my job to ask them what do they need to succeed. I'm not a micromanager. I need to get out of their way, but I need to always also ask them what is it they need from me, and then I need to support them so that they can be successful. One thing I always tell my team, at the end of your best day, it's going to be about people. And at the end of your worst day, it's going to be about people.
Taking that individual and really having that conversation with them and celebrating those small things with whether it's a small accomplishment that individual had, you all of a sudden start seeing the self-confidence come out and push them a little bit harder and a little bit harder, and then one day they see their own potential.
Well, my father and my mother, from the time I was old enough to speak and understand language, drilled into me the importance of education. Education is paramount to fulfillment and success. It's the one thing that can never be taken away from you. You know, your material goods can be taken away from you, but your education, who you are inside, can never be taken away from you. And it is vitally important, I believe, that everyone get as much education as they can.
I think education is absolutely important, and for me, that's been from elementary school all the way through college. My sixth grade teacher, Mrs. Boone, taught me grammar, and I am forever grateful to her. I learned logical thinking from Mrs. Woodhams, and geometry in high school, as well as algebra, and French. And in college, I learned public speaking, and as I said, learning about architecture and art, and learning to think about all kinds of things in different ways. And I think that education provides not only a practical background, a resource, but also it gives you a different vision of the world.
And the reason I think that it's important for women to realize that education helps them break through, no matter what their calling, no matter what their career, no matter what they want to do with their lives, no matter what their passion is, no matter where they want to do good, if they have education, it can only enhance the opportunities. It will never be a negative. It will always be a positive thing in their lives, and the more education, the better. There are so many doors that education opens, especially for women, and it's imperative that we teach young girls particularly, and young women even these days, that an education for them can mean the difference between being self-sufficient and not being self-sufficient.
I think it takes a village. It takes a very supportive family. I have a wonderful husband, and my mother. It makes a huge difference. And so I think work-life balance, you have to have a lot of support. You also have to draw boundaries. I get such few moments, especially in the evenings with my children, that I'm not going to walk in the door and be on the phone or be distracted. And so being on the computer or being on the telephone, my entire team and my partners know that I'm just not going to do it unless it's truly an emergency.
You have to figure out through time how you juggle all the balls, and if you drop one, is it going to bounce or is it going to break? And the trick is to drop the ones that are going to bounce and not the ones that are going to break. But I really see the balance as a day-to-day, minute-to-minute, the choices you make, and just making sure that over the course of time you're really thinking about what's the long-term impact, what's the most important thing to do here, and tomorrow if I make this choice, does it matter or not?
I always say to women that I know that I'm mentoring, you can have it all, just not necessarily at the same time. So what is important to you to have is different when you're 20 years old versus when you're 54 years old. And knowing what those are is actually where the magic comes. So I think the most important thing is tune yourself in, whatever it takes for you to reach inside yourself and understand what those priorities are. That's the more important thing to understand before you then decide how do you go after them and how do you balance them.
I remember in my younger days always searching for that purpose in life. And so like so many young people today, always wonder, where is this journey taking me? And one day I received a Christmas card from an individual who I had worked with that really did not have the self-confidence and had worked with this particular individual for quite some time. If I saw that someone did not have the self-confidence, I spent a lot of time helping them see that you can do this, you can do this. So lots of conversations with individuals. But then in this Christmas card, and I remember it like yesterday, it said that I did this for her, and because of that influence, she is who she is today. That she is now paying it forward and helping others. That is the day that I realized my purpose was truly to help others.
I found that with faith and choosing to let Him, God transformed me in ways I would never have imagined. And my faith, my family, and my friends, including my Bellows colleagues, have helped me and sustained me on that journey. And it has turned into an exciting journey. And it's interesting, Tom died in October 2007, and in January of 2008, less than 3 months later, I did my first groundbreaking for Texas Children's Hospital Pavilion for Women. And it was there that I felt I'm doing the right thing. I just felt it. And then it just took off. It was not only am I doing the right thing, but I'm really enjoying it.
I can tell you about a breakthrough moment, but I can't tell you exactly when it occurred. But there was a point in my adult life when I figured out that life doesn't happen to me, that I create the life that I want. I'm not a bystander to life. I am the architect of who I am and what my future will look like. And the best advice that I can give younger women is to really incorporate the idea, or really seize on the idea that they can create whatever they want and that they are not bystanders to their lives. They're the architects of their futures.
Sometimes people are looking for how do I excel in my career? How do I move forward? Many of our younger folks, and I think it goes for for all of us, are very ambitious. We're looking for how we can move forward, how we can make a difference. And one of the key pieces of advice that I give everybody that I work with, that I get the opportunity to mentor, is do the best you can do in the job that you're in. Always continue to learn and get better at what you're doing. And if you do the best job you can do in the one you're in today, the rest will come.
I think that women are uniquely positioned to do good in the world, no matter what their loves are or no matter what they're involved in. We are such a positive influence, or have the ability to be a positive influence in everything we do. I think women have an empathy, and they have an ability to calm, and an ability to see people, to see things in people that people may not see in themselves. I think men can do that as well, but men tend to be turned inward. They know their own strengths. They have basically a male ego that serves them well. And I say that in a positive sense. Women tend to look at others more. And so for that reason, I think it gives them the ability to help people become what they wouldn't become by themselves.
I think women tend to be very insightful. I think that many times, and I've observed this myself, even trying to be disconnected from myself in a meeting, just observing women is after a meeting, we'll have a debrief, and the women will always come up with the things that were behind the messages that were said, as opposed to necessarily what the words were. And I think it's being able to read in maybe a bit deeper, read people's body languages, read their intent. I think this has been proven in the boardroom, that women have different insights, different ways of thinking that bring true insight and shareholder performance actually at an elevated level.
I believe, we as women have incredible ability to hear maybe what's not spoken. We are good with the interpersonal skills. We listen, I'm not knocking men, but we do listen. And we understand each other on a level that's different in many ways. And so I think the strengths of women really are around communication and around listening, and just some of the most incredible leaders that I have encountered are women.